alien thing. How can we design the experiments? What's next? We have been totally lost. We don't know what the next thing is. We don't have a really good idea. We cannot build upon. This is the problem. That's why I think we don't have a cure for CADASIL, because we don't understand it. We don't have a solid idea.
So is that what has to be found out first, is what the something is? Or can you go ahead without knowing what that is?
So what I'm going to show you today is evidence demonstrating that the problem is actually signal. I'm going to show you evidence that the satellite is not sending the signal. And that this evidence that we thought indicated that the signaling was fine, that the satellite was sending the signals, was just not good enough. That we were using methods that were not appropriate. That signaling has been all the way deficient all along. And that if we can fix that, and we know really well how to do that, because I told you we know a lot about notch signaling. We know everything about it in a lot of sense. We know how it's worked, how it's regulated. There's a lot of research still know, but we know enough about it that we can actually fix the satellite. Are you excited?
Yeah.
I am too. So,
Just a quick question.
but do you understand it? I hope it's not. Okay. This is,
Just a quick question. Something that's genetic, something that you're born, that can be cured.
Are there other genetic things that have been cured, or is it just, is this kind of a hopeful thing? Or, I mean, because we know that we can cure, you know, diseases or a strep throat or something like that. Are there other things that have been cured that are genetic? Or is this just a hope for the future?
oh, we are. I think we are close. I mean, what you're saying is, can I?
Like, give me an example of some other genetic thing that has been cured. Not to put a downer on this, I'm just kind of curious.
So, I mean, your question is very good. It's just that it gets into a weird issue as to, like, do we actually have to fix the mutation to cure the disease? What do you think? Do we have to make notch 3 to be, do we have to just get that system reverted to normal for it to cure it, or not?
Or is it always going to be there? We just then have a medication like what you were talking about.
Exactly.
Like you're born with it, but now here's the medication you can take and you're good.
Okay, so I can tell you, let's go back to the example of the satellite. Okay, let's assume that I show you some data, you understand it, and you're convinced that the satellite is sending not enough signals. Okay, so I can tell you the following. Have we ever had that problem in real life? We have a satellite, it gets hit by something, and it's kind of not working well, but kind of is. And then a strategy for people is like, do we want to go up there and fix it? Who wants to? Which is like what you're saying. Is that even possible? Can we, do we have the money? Who wants to go up there? I don't want to. Maybe I will, but I'm going to lose some weight and my bones are going to, the astronauts are not willing for it. So, but instead, we have here on Earth the receptor, whatever is hitting the signal. And we say, let's fix this and make it more sensitive. So even the signal that is weak from the top, we can amplify, and then we hear just fine. Is that a cure? Very close, because it solves the problem. Even if the receptor is still mutated. That's kind of the thing that what I'm looking at right now.
It's like putting glasses on.
Yeah, like for instance, you asked me a very specific question, and I love it, and this is why I'm not gonna like put it aside. There is this company called Genzyme, recently bought by another company, but Genzyme was very interested in these very rare genetic conditions where kids, a lot of kids, they lack enzymes. Enzymes are proteins and they were very important and they will get diseases, and they lack these enzymes because of the mutation. So this company developed a bunch of drugs that will not fix the genetic problem, but will give these kids the enzyme that will be injected. And they will make the enzyme, because the kids couldn't make it. They couldn't fabricate their own enzyme, their own proteins, and then, so what the scientists did is that, well, we're gonna make them here in the lab, and then we are gonna literally inject them to these kids. And all of a sudden, it started working. Because it doesn't matter if the kid cannot make it on his own. You can just give it to them, and a lot of diseases that were intractable before, these kids were starting to get better, they had better survival, or the onset was delayed, not for 1, not for 2, not for 3, not for 4, not for 5, many. It worked. It's a model that works. So, have they been cured? Well, I mean, they still have to get it every month, and the company is making a lot of money. Christy, you want to say something?
I was just going to say, one way to think about that same question is, you can have treatments to treat symptoms. Then you can have a cure that cures it for you, and I have an example of something like that. And then to eliminate the disease is to take out the genetic piece so that the disease doesn't exist anymore. Kind of like a smallpox vaccine. I mean, if everybody's vaccinated, then we don't have smallpox anymore. Or there's a type of breast cancer, the BRCA1. I'm not real familiar with that, but there's a genetic realm of breast cancer, and if you have that gene, which you can be tested for, then you can proactively have your breast removed, and then you won't get, that would be your cure for that, but you can still pass the gene on to a child. So we are in the continuum of moving from a cure to eliminating disease, and we have eliminated other diseases that may or may not be genetic, but it is hopeful. So it's not a downer. It's a good question.
No, I was just
No, it's important to bring
so I
it
was
up.
just trying to figure out where, I guess, we're talking, when you say cure, where we're talking about that level of cure and wipe it out, and nobody's ever going to have it again, or cure as in we're not gonna have to deal with it personally, or is it more of a treatment as in take a pill? I guess I was just trying to figure that out.
I think it will have to be, this is the thing, it has to be with a timeline. I think it was a drug, if you are saying where drugs are coming from. I think if we can really test this idea, and if we take it all the way, we can actually have something that may delay the onset, or, yeah, the mutation is there, but you're never going to really get the stroke. That's what I'm talking about. I cannot, it's not my area of research, but there are a lot of people working on it. It's just that they don't really have to be working on CADASIL. It's called gene therapy. It's called, it's a different field in which they are trying to fix the genetic mutation. But these people, they don't have to work on CADASIL because it doesn't matter. They can be working on any gene. Because if you develop the technology to replace a mutated gene and replace it with a good one, you can cure any genetic disorder. So it's not something I can speak of. There have been some success and failures in that research field. It's just not what I do. What I can tell you about that particular field is that one is far. That one is far because there was a huge setback in the field. They did that with a kid, and the kid ended up dying, and we were close, and now we are.
To me. And that doesn't seem realistic to me, and that's why I was asking.
Yeah, no, that one of gene replacement and gene therapy, we had a huge setback in people working on it, and unfortunately, that hurt us all because now there is not that much funding for it. But I think gene therapy, and it was a setback. Everyone was very disappointed, but I cannot really speak of that. I'm talking about this other one. Okay, so now, if we can now do the lights. You are experts on a small vessel disease. I told you about it, so you are experts on the gums. Your friends, Todd, okay? This is Notch. the receptor in the surface sending the signal,